Everybody, welcome back to the Fin Factor. I'm Paul.
I'm Aaron.
This is episode number 188. No snarky remarks for that number. Aaron, we have a trade to announce. What do you think about this trade, Aaron? Adam Raska, who he played an NHL game or two for the Sharks. Didn't do a whole heck of a lot there, but we liked his play. And a 2026 fifth round pick goes to Minnesota. In return, the Sharks get defenseman, right-handed offensive defenseman, Calen Addison, somebody that, was drafted in 2018, second round, 53rd overall by Pittsburgh, nonetheless. This is it's a guy that maybe the Sharks have some high hopes for. I mean, it's not the first time we've gone to the Minnesota well looking for a right-handed defenseman that's had offensive upside, is it?
You think Greer has a good relationship with that GM over there?
It probably is.
Yeah, I think this was a the Sharks kind of benefited from this because Minnesota needed to move somebody and get some space out there for because they had another trade right after this. So it was kind of a numbers game, and I'm sure he was like, I'll call up my good old buddy Mike Greer and see if he's interested in having a puck-moving defenseman because everyone in the league knows they need one after they traded Erik Karlsson away. So this helps because I think Calen needed kind of a change of scenery situation in Minnesota. He's a right-handed shot defenseman, puck-moving, offensive-minded. The Sharks practically have nobody offensive-minded, at least at the NHL level right now. So, and a right-handed shot to boot. So, very helpful. And he's already manning the top power play unit, which thank God they finally got somebody because I was so sick of watching this 5-forward unit go out there and have more shots against on the power play than they do for. Every team knew that the Sharks are awful defensively, and you put out 5 forwards out there, they're going to be even worse. So, I'm not saying he's the answer or even long-term answer, but he's so young that he potentially could at least maybe crack the NHL roster down the road when they are actually pretty good. Maybe like a second pairing top 4 at his best, I'm saying. Top 4 defenseman, puck moving, paired up with a very defensive defenseman. I could see that's probably going to be his ceiling. He's never going to be a top pairing guy, but better than what they had. So I think it's a good win, especially short term for this season. At least it'll help them transition out of the back and gives him an opportunity. And as for Raska was a 7th round pick. And he's kind of a pesky forward. So guy is going to be on your 4th line. And he'll get some NHL time. He's kind of young, and Minnesota kind of needed some more of those kinds of players. So again, it's kind of a win-win trade for both of them. Raska, I think the Sharks are full of 3rd and 4th line guys that are cracking the lineup. So dime a dozen in a way. It gives him a chance to get into the NHL, helps his career. A win-win. And again, that 5th round draft pick that the Sharks traded is for 2026, not for this upcoming draft, not for next year's draft after that, but the year after that. So the Sharks hopefully will be good, and that 5th round pick will be, who cares? Nothing. So not a big deal. So basically a 5th and a 7th rounder for a 2nd round pick. That's not bad, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I like the pick. I want to call out Noah Claxton here. He says Aaron called it. He said the Sharks would make a trade. He says before next show is what he thought you said, but I don't know if before next show was what you said. Do you recall the timeline you gave?
For what, the set?
For the Sharks making a trade. You had said the Sharks are going to make a trade and it was going to be soon, But he's saying before the next show, which would be this show, which means you were bang on. But I don't recall you saying before the next show.
I don't think I said next show. I think I said Thanksgiving, which is only next week. So
Okay.
I think I said by Thanksgiving, I think we'll see something. Maybe I did see next week. I don't. I'll have to go back and look at the tape. I don't remember.
Solid call nonetheless there. Yeah. So right shot, offensive defenseman. Again, with the departure of Brent Burns, that actually seemed to help Erik Karlsson a bit as the lone right-handed offensive defenseman, the guy that everybody looked to run the offense, power play, everything else, right? That was our guy, obviously. That didn't pan out. And, after shipping Erik Karlsson off, it kind of seemed like there's just nothing but defensive defensemen left in the system there. So to be able to get Calen, bring him in again, he's a young guy. He's still, I think, RFA even after this his contract expires. So the Sharks control his contract and whatnot. And I think for me, it's a great pickup. It's a great roll of the dice. Certainly, why not bring this guy in? As we've already said, they were running a 5-man power play unit, and that just was not working. I will say, much like every other offensive defenseman that we've had recently with the San Jose Sharks, Calen has his defensive deficiencies, we'll say. Certainly a few times where he's, kind of caught out of position or looking a little bit weak, maybe off the puck. So hopefully that part of his game grows again. Young guy, and he's a defenseman. They take a little while. So, fingers crossed. I think this is something that could be a good future for the Sharks. Doesn't have to pan out to be a superstar, but just a guy that can maybe hold it down while the Sharks are kind of in that rebuild mode until somebody better comes along, or until we can make a trade or draft someone for the same type of role. And then by then, who knows? Maybe this turns into somebody that is a good trade asset as well. We don't no longer need a right shot offensive defenseman. We've got that position figured out. Then he could become something that can bring something back for the Sharks as well. So, I like this. I like the trade. We certainly didn't give up anything that I was attached to. And I think what's coming in is certainly promising. So very happy with the Sharks trade on this one here. Mike Grier doing Mike Grier things. Now, I don't know that Calen Addison is necessarily the type of player that Mike Grier likes. These, heavy, hardworking, hard to play against type guys. I think Calen is more geared toward the talent side as opposed to the physical side. But you can't have a whole group of bunch of bruisers and just hard workers. At this level, everybody should be a hard worker, right? That's kind of what the only reason you're in the NHL at that level is because of the work ethic. So hopefully he brings that in spades and is able to kind of elevate his game and become the guy that we're hoping to have. Malachi Nunes says, what about Mario? Mario is a more defensive-minded defenseman. When I first saw Mario, I was thinking he would bring some offensive upside. But Aaron, would you share that sentiment as well about Mario?
Absolutely. He's not there for his skill. I'll say that. He's more of a defensive. I'm not trying to knock him either. That's just not his game. He's maybe at the lower levels he had a little bit more offensive punch, but not so much here. But was interesting, and I saw this the other day. Let me see if I can find it quickly. I think he was leading the Sharks in shots, which is crazy to think, isn't it?
I did see that, yeah.
He's now second. Hurdle has surpassed him, but Mario Ferraro has the second most shots. To Hurdle has 37, he has 30. So he's the second leading shot goer on the Sharks with 0 goals to show for it, and only 2 assists, which is crazy. If you have that many shots on goal, you're going to expect some rebounds and some goals coming off that, so you get some assists. He's only got 2. I don't know if you saw, there was a game, I don't know if it was this week or it might have been last week. He had kind of an open chance up close, almost in the slot area, and he ripped it. It looked like he tried to rip it as hard as he can. The goalie gloved it like it was a kid shooting on him. Like it was just not. It was not. And again, I like Mario Ferraro. I'm not knocking him, but he just doesn't have what it takes to be a scoring offensive threat in the NHL.
Very good. Well, thankfully they didn't need a whole lot of scoring threats against the Flyers. First time the Sharks pick up a win, and what is it? The first game they scored 2 right here? No, they scored 2.
No, they've scored 2 before.
It's the next game that it's more than 2. Okay, so
Yes.
Sharks against Flyers, 2-1 win. Aaron, talk to me about this one. I know you were pulling some stat sheets up. You wanted to call out a few things about this game.
Duclair scores. He got a. Did he get a fight in that game? Trying to look real quick for the penalties, but
you looking for the Gordie Howe?
Did he get a Gordie Howe? I don't think he did. No, he didn't have a fight. Oh, he got a misconduct. That's what it was. Game misconduct at the very end. I forgot about that.
We should count that.
That's different. If he got it for fighting, sure. Duclair scores a goal less than 2 minutes into the game. And this was a game. This is the first, was it the first game after the 2 10-goal losses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this was the first game after the meeting with Mike Greer. And it definitely, that meeting set the tone for the team. And I think we had talked about this last week. We were expecting a win. I didn't know about 2 wins, but we were expecting a win this week. Philadelphia ends up being the team that gives the Sharks their first win of the season. I think someone had mentioned it before that when Arizona was going through their long losing streak a couple years ago, that Philadelphia was the team that ended the streak. Anyway, Duclair scores and he's starting to get kind of hot and he's looking better. And unfortunately, lately he's been sick, so he's been out of the lineup. But he's looking better and looking like the guy that he should be on this team and scoring some goals. Eklund gets the second goal on the power play to go up 2-0, and then Farabee scored 2 minutes after that, make it 2-1. I don't know about you, but I was on the edge of my seat during that entire third period because I was waiting for the
collapse.
Yeah, the collapse, the other shoe to drop back to reality, right? Like I'm just waiting to just go, of course the Sharks lose this game. Of course they'll screw something up. And they didn't. And credit goes to, I mean, the Flyers tried. It's not like they rolled over and died. Blackwood ended with 38 saves. I don't think he's ever going to get a win with under 30 saves in a game. He had 38 of 39 shots saved to bring his his save percentage up again. He is looking legit, and we'll get into this a little bit. Yeah. But Blackwood, to me, is it. I said this, I think, last week or the week before. The best goaltender the Sharks have had, I think, since Nabokov. I don't think Niemi was the answer. He got us pretty far. He was kind of a trendy goalie to me. Like he blocked everything down low, but was awful up high. Martin Jones was serviceable on a good team, but I mean, it's hard to knock Martin Jones because he's the only goalie that got the Sharks to the finals, if you think about it that way. So credit due to him, but I think Blackwood far surpasses these guys by far.
I'm kind of in the same boat, and yeah, I think we'll save some of that conversation for later, but certainly happy with the pickup of Mackenzie Blackwood again. Mike Greer doing a heck of a job, if you ask me. Noah Claxton says Duclair realized the only way off the team is to start producing, hence the increase in production. I mean, I think everybody that feels that they're worthy of a better opportunity to go get a cup is kind of under the same impression, right? If I play my butt off and I show that I'm still relevant in this league and I'm a force to be had, not other teams to mess with, right? Then perhaps another team takes me off of this dumpster fire and brings me to the promised land. But, honestly, with Duclair, I've not at all been impressed pretty much the entire season. He scored his goal, and that's great. I think really what it came down to for me was after Mike Greer had the talk, right, with the team, I think everybody kind of took that to heart, started stepping up, started looking better, and certainly Duclair was a part of that group. And certainly, again, nice to see him kind of starting to return to form. Hopefully that continues. But, it's one of those things where time will tell. We'll just have to keep going down for the rest of the season to see, because this could be another flash in the pan. We talked about Zadina at the beginning of the season. Don't forget, he had a couple goals right away, and he was looking like he was buzzing every night. And lately, I'm not saying he's not buzzing, but like lately, he hasn't really shown up, at least not on the score sheet. So don't want to count the chickens before they hatch there. So yeah, I don't know. For me, jury's still out on Duclair. I hope to see him playing better, if for no other reason than to get him onto a team that where he's got a good opportunity to play for a Stanley Cup. So we'll see. Again, for me, jury's still out on Duclair. But anything else you wanted to say about the 2-1 win against the Flyers?
No, just the first win, and it's against the Flyers, which is fantastic. Because did you see that? Did you see what Sharky posted at the end, or what he did at the game?
No, I missed it.
Gritty was there, and he was up top, and Sharky comes up with big old boxing gloves and just boom knocks him out. He just falls flat. It's pretty funny.
Nice.
So I really don't like Gritty. I don't like him at all.
You know, I hated him at first, and he kind of grew on me. He's just a goof, and you take him for what he is. So
he's too cocky for me. I don't like it.
Yeah, he put a kid in the penalty box during one of the. You know how they have the kids doing the 5-on-5, right? So one of the kids decided he wanted to spend his time fighting Gritty, which is hilarious. So he ended up picking him up and throwing him in the penalty box. Yeah, it's good stuff. So I don't know. He's a decent enough mascot, if you ask me, but that's neither here nor there. Let's see here.
Peter St. John. Here's a good comment. Whatever Greer told them, most of the guys took it to heart. Improved effort, improved systematic details, beginnings of systematic cohesion. Absolutely. They'll never tell us what, or nobody will say what happened in that locker room, but there is probably not one nice word said in that locker room. I'm sure it was a reality check to the guys. Again, your way off the team is by playing well. Like there's no way you're getting out of here unless you play well. So that was a he probably, I wouldn't be surprised because I'm gonna have to fire, your coach if you don't stop it kind of thing, or maybe not threaten him to do that, but it's always on the players when the coach gets canned. So, and from what I gather from other comments, a lot of players love Quinn as their coach. So they won't want someone in there as someone else. But
how often are you going to hear a player say publicly to the media, yeah, I don't like the coach, though?
It's more of like, did you see Jack Eichel was talking about him because he was his coach in college? And he said, I think who was it? Shang was asking him about it. And he was like, no, he's a good coach. He'll get them out of this rut. He's the right guy for it. I don't know. I understand what you're saying, but I don't think you would hear other things. He also coached Team USA. I don't think they would have had him as the coach for Team USA if, for one, he wasn't a good coach, or two, players hated him.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on to the game against the Oilers. A second win, Aaron. This is a winning streak they're on 2 games in a row. Oddly enough, the Oilers went into this game with a better record than the Sharks, but did not have a 2-game winning streak. So the lowly Sharks actually had their 2-game winning streak before the Oilers did, which is mind-boggling considering at least 2 players, Draisaitl and McDavid, of course. Those 2 are so dynamic, leading the league in points last season and everything. So and goals. I mean, it's ridiculous that a team is that bad with that high level of a talent on it. I mean, it does go to show just how much you need depth in this game. You cannot have just a LeBron James and have him on the court and he basically wins the game for you guys. It's that hockey's not like that. You need to have depth. You need if you got 4 lines, you got to roll them. And certainly you can have your best players out there for those impact moments, but they get tired. Hockey is a game where you can only play it for 45 seconds at a time, so you do need to have a lot of depth, and apparently the Oilers just do not. The Sharks pick up the second one of the season. It's a 3-2 win, and we had said that it was the first game with more than 2 goals scored, but that's actually wrong. Peter St. John, I think, was saying that they scored 3 in the Colorado game. So it was actually the first game the first Sharks win where they scored more than 2 goals.
That's not right.
Did they not score 3 goals against Colorado?
No, I thought that one went to a shootout, and it was like it was 1-1 that went to the shootout, I thought.
I think Peter St. John's going to come in and
I'm pulling it up right now. It was a 2-1 shootout loss.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
Peter St. John, you were wrong, buddy.
Sorry,
What
Peter.
happened?
No, that was the first time they had scored more than 2 goals. They had not scored 2 goals in a game ever this
Okay.
season.
So then there you go. That's 3 goals in a game. First time for this season.
It's
Love it. There you go. Peter
interesting.
St. John, you can come at Aaron full force, buddy.
Any idea the ice time of Connor McDavid? Take a guess.
The ice time of Connor McDavid, probably like 40 minutes, dude. Like they're doing everything they can to get this win.
24 minutes. 24 and a half minutes. That's a lot for a forward.
That is a lot, yes.
That is a lot. Same with Draisaitl, 23 minutes. And who's the other forward? Zach Hyman, 22 minutes. Those 3 guys. That line was out there for a very long time, and they don't do penalty kill. So that was a lot of obviously power play time, but even 5-on-5. We've talked about that before, about how you like Brent Burns. People always want Brent Burns to go back as a winger instead of being a defenseman, but playing defense, you're on the ice longer. You'll be on there for, like, Burns was putting in 28 to 30 minutes a night. He's on the ice half the time. The most you'll get out of a forward, I think 24 minutes is pretty high for a forward. Usually you see anywhere between 18 to 20 as the higher end. 24 is very high for forward. That leaves you with a fourth line getting 7 minutes, 9 minutes. And then your defenseman, your other defenseman, there's 2 guys with 11 minutes, 12 minutes. Like, they're basically there just to kill penalties. They're not doing anything else. You want your best players on the ice most of the time, which is why people invest more into defensemen. Now, I'm not saying McDavid is not a good choice. Obviously, he's the best player in the world, but he's not playing 100%. Let's talk about that Eklund strip. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Eklund on the penalty kill, wasn't it?
Yeah.
McDavid's taking the puck out from his own end, and Eklund strips it from him and takes it back the other way for a breakaway. He didn't score, but it was a big deal because clearly McDavid couldn't catch up to Eklund. I'm not saying Eklund's slow. He's quick, but the fastest skater in the NHL should be able to catch him. So
I got something to say about that. And
it's
okay. So it's not so much, and this is something I talked to my son about too, right? Because he's not the fastest kid on the rink, believe it or not. I'm 5'7". He's unfortunately inherited my genes. This is the way parenting works. I don't know if anybody knows that. But he's a little bit shorter, so his legs aren't as long, so he doesn't have a big stride. So he's not the fastest kid on the rink. But the thing I told him was, look, you don't have to be faster than somebody if you're just in their way, right? And what I saw from Eklund was exactly that. He poked it, stepped around McDavid while McDavid is turning to come back up ice. And it's not so much to me that, what's it called? Slip repeat. It's not so much that Eklund is faster than McDavid. Let's not go there. But he's just he was staying just in front of McDavid. Doesn't matter how fast you are. You can't skate through me. You can try to skate around me, but you cannot skate through me. So I just think that Eklund was doing the smart thing there. And I think that speaks more to Eklund's skill than anything else. Even if you're not the fastest guy between the two of them, if you're smart in your positioning, you can hold the faster guy back from being able to catch you. And that, for me, that's what I saw Eklund doing. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he was just flat out faster. But to me, it was about his body positioning in limiting McDavid's speed, not allowing him to get up to top speed, holding him back and getting that opportunity. So that's what I saw. But you go ahead.
I mean, that was it. That's all I got.
Drew says it would have been incredible if he scored that goal. Yeah, absolutely. It would have been. I mean, you know, it's you see these great plays and again, I always relate it back to when I'm talking with the kids is like, look, just because your teammate didn't bury it, does that make it any less impressive of a play? Right? You can't help that the goaltender maybe stands on his head, right? But the fact that you get that opportunity, and again, I'm talking to kids, so relax, Aaron. But like, you know, the fact that you get that opportunity, those are the building blocks. Those are the things that you want to work on because eventually you're going to bury that shot, right? Eventually, when you make that pass to that guy, he's not going to bobble it, right? But getting those opportunities, I think that's the thing that kind of stands out more to me. Seeing Eklund being able to pick the puck, hold McDavid off, even if he doesn't score, it doesn't make that sequence of events any less incredible, and it doesn't take away from it in any way for me. So
if Eklund scored that goal, I think Jay Woodcroft would have been fired in between periods instead of 4 days later.
Maybe
that would have been the gif of the Edmonton Oilers season of McDavid getting picked and stripped and going back the other way and scoring a shorthanded goal. Like, the Oiler fans would have just been like, I'm done with this team, completely done with this team. If the Sharks can do that to McDavid, you know what I mean? Like, it would have been a big deal if he scored that goal. It would have been huge, not for the Sharks. It would have been huge negatively for the Oilers.
Let's address a couple comments here. Ryan Sontag says, haha, quotes, relax, Aaron. I guess that was from me telling you just now. Whatever. Noah Claxton, no, I'm not saying Eklund is better than McDavid. What I'm saying is Eklund was, as Malachi Nunes says, crafty. He was crafty, using craftiness over speed, right? You can, if you're not the fastest guy, you figure out other ways. And I think that Eklund certainly did that in that moment there. Now, apparently, Aaron, we've got Grandizer is saying, I guess they don't see your question. That's why I always write hashtag question. I guess Scott K was asking about black jerseys. Scott, the reason we didn't answer your question about black jerseys is because A, we're not talking about black jerseys right now. B, we honestly, we're not one of the shows that really cares that much about jersey schedules and whatnot. And C, yes, absolutely. You were able to Google it yourself and figure that one out very quickly. Well done. Maybe you can let everybody know what the black jersey schedule is in the comments right there. So there you go. Let's see. What do you think about the Woodcroft firing? You know what? Are we done with? Yep. Yeah. Let's talk about that right now then, dude. Jay Woodcroft fired. So ownership is scared of losing Draisaitl and McDavid. Do you believe that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you're on a team, I mean, essentially, those guys could play anywhere. Any team is going to take them. If there's an opportunity that they could sign with any team they want to, that team would dump whoever to get those guys on their team. So they are one of the elite few in the league that could pretty much in free agency sign anywhere they want. Almost like when John Tavares was on the free agent market. Remember how crazy people were, like teams and taking him out to dinner. Like, I know Doug Wilson wooed him and he possibly was going to come to San Jose. It's a huge deal, and they want, I mean, Edmonton is a fragile NHL team. Before they got McDavid, there was chances that they were going to move out of Edmonton because they were so bad. They were so bad. The team or the fans didn't want them. You know, they're not making money. They needed a new arena. Everything got saved because McDavid is on that team. I'm not joking.
What's
built
crazy
a new arena.
to me though is the amount of first round draft picks, not just for first overalls. I mean, and maybe not all these guys were first overall, but I mean, Yakupov, that was a flop. But other than that, I mean, Taylor Hall, Jordan Eberle, Ryan Nugent Hopkins, right? I mean, these are some really talented players that just they couldn't put it together.
Eberle wasn't a first round pick. I think he was a second round pick, but still like a high. Yeah. Okay. Jordan Eberle wasn't a first overall.
No, overall, no. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they had a bunch. They still can't really put it together. And I love it. I love seeing that happen when it's not my team. I just think it's hilarious. Same with the Toronto Maple Leafs not making the final since they won it in whatever 64. Like, I think that's awesome. And I want that streak to continue as long as possible because I think it's just great. I mean, it's just like in baseball, the Red Sox were cursed, you know, after trading the great Bambino, Babe Ruth a long time ago. They couldn't win a series or they couldn't win a championship up until, you know, in our lifetime. So I like those kind of streaks. The Cubs is another one. Like it's exciting. It brings eyeballs and attention to it. So can you imagine like Toronto Maple Leafs getting to the Western Conference Finals and it's game 7 and it goes to overtime? How many eyeballs are going to be on that game?
Yeah.
So many. So it's good for the NHL to have stuff like that. I love it. Now, having said that, I want the Sharks to win a cup in my lifetime. So I don't like it when it's my team, but I like seeing disasters in other places because it makes me feel better about my team. It makes me feel better about the Sharks because it's worse somewhere else. I don't feel so bad. But anyway, back to the Oilers. What I was thinking, looking at this, they are very scared that they're going to leave when they become free agents. Draisaitl's got another 2 years. McDavid has another 3. Draisaitl is due for a huge bump in pay. I mean, he is criminally underpaid compared to McDavid or what he's bringing to the table. McDavid is making $12.5 million. Draisaitl's making $8.5 million. 8.5. That's slightly more than Tomas Hertl.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's barely more than Hertl money.
No knock on Hertl, but there's a big discrepancy there. There's a big discrepancy.
Oh, I cannot lie. It was, a lot last, month. And
Of course.
So, looking at the Sharks free agent or cap friendly and their cap coming up in a couple years, there's a lot of cap space coming when those two guys are hitting the market for the Sharks, and I don't think a lot of other teams could say the same. So, just imagine the Sharks landing Connor McDavid in 3 years. Again, I'm just totally speculating, just spitballing. It's more of the Sharks will have a lot going for them at that point in 3 years. Whoever they're drafting this season is going to be more than ready at that point. William Eklund is going to be hitting his stride definitely in another 3 years from now. You got, Philip Bysted's coming along, right? You have, you'll still have Couture. So when McDavid hits the market, guess who's coming off the books that season?
Who?
Marc-Edouard Vlasic.
There you go.
$7 million coming off the books, assuming he's still there by then. You have Michael Granlund's $5 million coming off the books. You have, okay, let's put it this way: when McDavid hits the market, the only Sharks signed is Logan Couture for 1 more season, and Tomas Hertl for another 4 seasons or 3 seasons or something. That's not a bad number 2 and number 3 punch behind having McDavid there, plus whoever else you got. So, I'm not like getting excited. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just saying the possibility is there. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. How about that? Whereas other teams have too much other money and long-term commitments locked up compared to what the Sharks are going to have and what Greer's doing with the team. So I think they're in pretty good shape to make a big splash in the free agency market. Now, again, it doesn't have to be McDavid, but they're at least at the table if it comes to him saying, forget this Oilers ownership. This team is garbage. It's never going to go anywhere. They can't build a contender. Hey, let's look around and see what other teams have going on. Let's see their facilities. Holy cow, San Jose's weather is amazing. I want to go move there. See what I'm saying? I'm building it up here. I'm building it up.
I don't see them going, you know what? Let's leave Edmonton for San Jose.
Really?
Because of the weather? What have we done lately that would make them think that we're going to be any better than Edmonton in the next few years?
Have you seen
what have
Edmonton?
we done? But what have we done? We haven't done anything. Right? Now, granted, you're talking about the amount of cap space, right? I mean, he's milking 12.5. Does he make more than that on the next contract?
Absolutely.
So how many teams are going to be able to take that contract on? Not many. Maybe the Sharks can. Sure. So maybe that's the only in that the Sharks have, is that we would have the cap space to be able to pay him the ridiculous amount that he's probably worth, right? But I don't know. That is like an NHL 24 scenario right there. That is
it's
like fantasy hockey at its finest.
I fully understand and will say it's a reach, but I'm planting the seed. I'm planting the seed in the minds of Sharks fans that it is a possibility. That's all I'm doing. And if it is, and if it happens and it comes to fruition, I'm coming to this episode and gloating about it for years.
Yeah, please. Hey, episode 188. This is the Aaron knew that McDavid was going to become a Shark 3 years later.
Just to see.
This is the episode right here. So you heard it here, folks. Oh, as ridiculous as that sounds, let's move on to the next game, Sharks and Golden Knights. Aaron, you call this a scheduled loss. You can explain that term in just a bit here. But the Sharks do go down 5-0, lay a big fat goose egg. Back to reality, Aaron.
Yeah. I mean, this is last week I said this is a scheduled loss. And by that, I mean, when the NHL made the schedule, they really put the Sharks in a tough situation here where they're playing at home against Edmonton, which, before the season started, man, that's a tough matchup. Then getting on a plane and flying into Vegas. Granted, that's only an hour flight. It's not very far, but still having to travel and play the next day against a Vegas team that was rested at home, that's brutal. So it was a scheduled loss in terms of that. That's where the kind of the definition, I guess, of a scheduled loss is. A back-to-back going into on the road against a rested team.
Right.
That's brutal. So yeah, the Sharks, I mean, it was just
the defending Cup champs.
Right. Yeah. The defending Cup champs that brought back the most players ever from a defending Stanley Cup roster.
Is it two players that they replaced?
Yeah, I think it's 21 of the 23 returned. Riley
That's
Smith
absurd.
was one and someone else.
It makes me angry in my chest. Okay, to know that team is essentially entirely coming back. Again, they win the Cup 6 years after their inception, and they're just ready to rock for another one in season 7.
This is the team that I would love to see just implode and just be done. I would love it. Absolutely love it. I'd love to see Aiden Hill just be terrible all of a sudden come February to the point where they almost miss the playoffs and then they just lose in the first round.
So many formerly Twitter X posts saying thank you to the Sharks with Aiden Hill holding the cup over his head. To which I say you're welcome, because when he played with us, he was trash. So let's get real. If he was able to play better for you guys, more power to you. But it's not like we were holding on to the golden goose and we just didn't know it. He wasn't doing anything for us. So, oh well. Anyway, the Sharks' woes continue. Sharks at Ducks, a 4-1 loss. At least we didn't get shut out this time. And then one of these goals was a really fluky, kind of a pop flyer that just happened to go over the outfielder's head there, huh?
It was. I don't know, did you see it? Did you watch this game? Yeah, I watched it happen. I'm like, you got to be kidding me! Like, first of all, what happened? I need to see the replay. Like, what? How did that go in? Second of all, the time of these goals. It was 1-1 in the second. Veterano scores his second goal of the game with a minute and a half left, roughly, of the second period. So now you're going into the third period down a goal. Okay, regroup. 2 minutes in, there's a goal. Okay, 3-1. That was kind of not quite the dagger, but like, oh man, that sucks. Less than a minute later, you get this fluke goal.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding? So Gudas shoots it from the point, and it wasn't even that hard of a shot. I forgot who got a stick on it. I think it was Granlund. Got his stick to block it. Hits it, goes up. Vlasic is standing in front of Blackwood, sees the puck, almost like a pop fly in baseball.
Yep.
Tries to jump, which is not easy on the ice, and grab it, misses it. Blackwood is looking below him to look around him because he knew the shot was coming from the point. Didn't see it up high because up in the stands, the black puck, you lose it. If you're not paying attention, you don't see it, you're going to lose it. You're not going to see it. He had no idea it was there. It goes right over his head behind him and in the goal. It's like, you gotta be kidding. Like, of all the goals, that's a goal the Sharks should be scoring. And everyone going, wow, the Sharks are so bad they can't score normally. They have to score this way. There's no other way they get on the board. Like, it was just terrible. And even Gudas skating the bench was kind of like laughing, like, you gotta be kidding. Like, that was a goal. Like, this is too easy. So ridiculous. Just that will be, like I said earlier, if Eklund had scored that goal against McDavid, that would be the Oilers' gift. This is the Sharks' gift of the season of how bad it's going. Just, we could probably replay that over and over all year, just like we do with the David Quinn clip of how terrible we are. It's just awful. Just awful. It will never get old. And
We just stunk.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
it'll live in infamy. It sucks.
I will say I'll correct you on one thing there. It's actually not that hard to jump when you're a professional. When you're on your ice skates, it's actually not that hard. They actually teach the kids when they're skating to jump. So not as bad as you think it is. I know.
Not that I'm saying it's hard, but you're not getting high.
Yeah, sure. If you have no leg strength, absolutely. But just
you standing still and backing up and trying to jump for it. So it's not like
power squats, buddy. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway, he doesn't jump high enough, can't knock it down. Yeah, and the thing, just like I said, it's like a pop fly over the outfielder's head and just drops in the back of the net. Like, what are the chances? This is the hockey gods hate you. This is what this is, right? I don't know what we did to upset the hockey gods, but they do not like us at all. And that puck goes in the net. So is what it is. Again, it's just a terrible luck type of thing. But you know what? Again, was that a fairly entertaining game? Not bad.
I thought up until that point, the Sharks were still in that game up until those 2 quick goals in the beginning of the third. Then it was just, they were done. They were done. They never scored more than 3 in a game. And they just done it the first time the game before that or 2 games before that. So, yeah, mentally, they're just, they're not strong enough mentally, nor do they have the skill. I mean, one of their, who was it, Declare was out that game. I think he was sick. So he wasn't even in the lineup. They just don't have any scoring punch.
Yeah.
Hence, our next subject. Oh, I guess it's later. Somebody getting called up to the Sharks.
You know what? Go ahead. We'll jump straight to that one. Go ahead.
Sure, real quick.
Yeah.
Sharks are in trouble. Duclair has been out, and that's one of their goal scorers. Hoffman's supposed to be another one, but he's been hot garbage. So, Danil Gushchin was called up from the Barracuda. He was leading the AHL, but he's kind of cooled off in the last 4 games. I was looking up his stats. He only had 1 goal in his last 4 games. So he now is 17th in the AHL. In 11 games, he's got 4 goals and 9 assists. Now, he's not going to be the savior of the Sharks here. It's not like we're all of a sudden going to go on some winning streak. But I think this is an opportunity for him to crack the NHL lineup, get a taste of the life. I don't think he's going to stay up here. Get a taste of what it's like to be at the NHL level, which he did, 2 games last season.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a reward for how well he's playing at the Barracuda. So it's kind of a multifaceted reason of why he's being called up. And obviously the Sharks need scoring help, and he's a goal scorer. I'm excited to see what he can do. Now, he's a smaller forward. I think he's my height. I think he's 5'9". But he plays a little bit bigger than you would think of a 5'9" guy, so he doesn't get completely tossed around.
I thought you were going to say he plays a little bit bigger than you.
Everyone plays bigger than me.
Probably skates a little better than you too. Just saying.
Absolutely skates better than me. There's no question there. But this is it's an exciting opportunity, and this is one of the, going back to the very beginning of the season, how to watch the Sharks. This is what I want to see. I want to see these young guys come up and be successful at some part of their game. Now he obviously is going to need to be more well-rounded to stick in the lineup, and also probably put on a little bit more muscle just to take the grind. The NHL season is really tough. In fact, there was a quote from David Quinn the other day about Bedard, because they were talking about Carlson, Leo Carlson of Anaheim, after they just played the Ducks. This is one of the first times in a long time, I don't know if you know this, that the top 3 picks, and this is what sucks that the Sharks pick 4th, Leo Carlson,
Adam Fantilli,
Connor Bedard, and Fantilli, are all playing and doing well for their respective teams. And this is kind of unheard of for 3 18-year-olds to actually have success in the NHL, like sustained success kind of thing. But it's good to see the young guys coming in. But what David Quinn was saying was, wait till you get to about that 50-60 game mark. You're going to see them tail off, because it's hard. It's hard to play in a men's league at 18 for that many games. It is such a grind. So don't expect those guys to continue doing what they're doing throughout the entire season.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see him get an opportunity here this season. Certainly, it'd be nice to see him alongside an incredible passer and puck handler like Eklund. Just basically get open for me is all it's going to be, right? If Eklund's got that puck, just find that open passing lane and get in it so he can fire the puck to you. So I don't know. We'll see. I doubt he's going to get the opportunity to play with Eklund there, but it would be very interesting to see if that was the case. And certainly if he can have even just a little bit of success, a little bit of a taste of it, bring that back down to the AHL. Hopefully, kickstart him. As you said, he only had 1 goal in his last little bit here recently. So maybe bringing that experience back with his AHL teammates, the Barracuda, can certainly help them out. So. Yeah, good for Danil Gushchin there. Let's talk a little bit about goaltending. We touched on this a little bit earlier, talking about Mackenzie Blackwood and how good he's been for the Sharks. We're going to throw some stats your way, but before we do that, we're going to have the roll call right now. And actually, before we put the roll call question out, I just want to remind you guys, we truly appreciate you guys in the comments. But if you've got Sharks friends and family that would like to be a part of the conversation as well, please feel free. Hit the repost, retweet, reshare, whatever the button is on whatever platform you're using. Get us out to your Sharks friends and family. If you're enjoying the show, I'm sure they'll be enjoying it just as much. And then you got more people on chat, and we can have more of a conversation. And it's always more fun that way. So please feel free to do that. And of course, yes, your producer Jason put it down there. If you're enjoying the stream, hit that thumbs up, that like button. It certainly does help the algorithm. It goes a long way for us. Yay. So, Aaron, the roll call question here is going to be, of course, as always, what city are you watching us from? But then also, should the Sharks trade Mackenzie Blackwood if the teams come calling, or do they build with him as their future number 1 netminder? Now, I've got kind of my thoughts on this, and I'm actually a little bit on the fence. But before we get to that, why don't you tell them about some of the stats as they're thinking about the comment that they want to throw into the comment section there. So go ahead, fire away.
Sure. I was looking up these stats on Natural Stat Trick here, and I was curious about the high danger shots because the Sharks give up a lot, right? So first of all, Mackenzie Blackwood is 2nd in the league in saves behind, I don't know if it's Jonas Johansson or Jonas Johansson, but he's the Tampa Bay goalie that's filling in for Vasilevsky. He's at 364 saves with a game in hand, whereas Blackwood's at 343. So that's not many different. To make sure I'm on the
21.
Right screen. What's that?
21 different.
Right, but I was making sure I was on all strengths and not sorting it a different way. But yes, in one game, I guarantee Mackenzie Blackwood will have more saves than that. So he will be leading the league in saves. His high danger shots against is 132. Next place is Johansson again at 110 with a game in hand. So, or sorry, not a game in hand, but Mackenzie Blackwood has a game in hand. So he will be having even more than that. Yep. He's leading thankfully in high danger saves. But high danger goals against, he's also leading the league against. Now, the other stat I had that I pulled up that I found earlier was, let's see. This was an interesting one. He's 2nd place in the league in rebound attempts. That means a shot comes in and he gives up a rebound and there's a follow-up shot, right? To me, that if the Sharks had some defense and could clear out in front of him, it would be much better. He would be much better. The Sharks would be much better. I think this is what they need to focus on. Showing up that defense. Let me pull it up again. Rebound against. Yeah, he's at 71. He's tied with Ville Husso right now of Detroit. But if the Sharks could clear out the front of the net and clear out those rebounds, that'll go a long way. Getting rid of more high danger, basically rebound chances, which have a higher chance of scoring goals. The average shot distance was interesting to me that I pulled up here, because he was where did I have it written down here? 3rd in the league, the closest average shot distance. So the Sharks defense are giving up closer shots more often than not, at 32 feet. 32.42 feet away. That's their average shot distance. So they're giving up too many chances, too close. I mean, this is kind of no-brainer stuff, right? High danger stuff. You give up too much high danger stuff, you're going to get goals scored on you. You focus on the high danger chances, you limit that against, your team is going to do better. So I think if the Sharks wanted to win more, which I don't know if they do want to do that, that's what they need to focus on. Limiting the high danger chances will be a success, a key to winning.
Well, and it's not surprising at all that they're third closest in average shot distance, right? You talked about being second in rebounds. Well, rebounds generally don't kick out to the point, right? They're usually kind of right in front of the net. So, of course, they're going to be a little bit closer. High danger shots against, if they're second in the league in that, and certainly leading the NHL in goals, high danger goals against, those are all going to be in that in tight area there. So, yeah, of course, they're going to the shot distance is going to be really close. But to go to the question of whether or not you think that they should be trading Blackwood should something come along, or if they should use him as their future number one, is there one way or the other that you're kind of sitting? Are you on the fence? I can see both sides of the argument here. I don't know if you've got one side that you kind of lean more towards.
To me, I would be happy if he stayed and was part of the solution here in San Jose in the long term. I will say that the 6th round draft pick that they gave up and everyone laughed at the Sharks for, that price has surely gone up for him to come out of San Jose. So his value has, to me, I don't want to say skyrocketed, but compared to a 6th round draft pick, it's definitely jumped up there. I would say maybe a 3rd, possibly a 2nd. I don't think he can get a 1st just yet, but if he can continue doing what he's doing and proving to the league that he belongs as a surefire starter of a team, if he can help the San Jose Sharks, he's at 900 save percentage right now. Martin Jones couldn't even dream about 900 save percentage. So I think being on an absolute terrible team, night in and night out, he gives the Sharks a chance to win every time he plays. Now, having said that, I think that Anaheim game he seemed a little off on that game, just slightly off. Like just reaction time seemed a little slower. I thought that very first goal of the tip in, I think Vetrano typed it. I think it was the very first goal. He kind of stood up to get it and he tipped it and went 5-hole, and his 5-hole was wide open. To me, I think he just didn't play that right, and he would want that one back. Now it's hard when it's a tip. It's harder to save it. I understand that, but I just feel like he played that wrong. And then there's a couple of the other goals I thought I'd seen him play sharper. So I think it was kind of an off night for him. Maybe he's a little fatigued. Who knows? But I do think he's proved himself so far. And granted, it's still a little early. We're only a month and a half, really a month in to the season because it started so late in October. So we like to assess people after Thanksgiving, which is next week. I think he legit is a number one goalie, and on a good team, he's going to be even better. And I think if you look at New Jersey, they're having goaltending problems, which is funny to me. I don't know. You trade away your, at the time, number 3 goalie. It reminds me of when San Jose traded Kiprusoff to Calgary, because at that time, he was the number 3. He was behind Nabokov and Toskala, right? Was it Toskala then? Yeah, it was.
Vesa Toskala.
Yeah, Vesa Toskala outplayed Kiprusoff as the backup role. And no knock on Kiprusoff. Obviously he was a good goalie, but when he played for the Sharks, he just couldn't put it together. And I think that was kind of the same thing with Blackwood. When he came back and was playing for New Jersey, he just couldn't get it together. And trade him and now imagine if he went to like a contending team instead of the Sharks. He probably would be up there in top 10 in the league, maybe even top 5 on a good team. So I think he could be part of the answer, but I do think the price has gone up for him. And again, I don't think anybody on the Sharks is safe. And that's including Eklund. I think anybody is tradable. Anybody for the right price. I'm not saying they should be, but for the right price, I think they could be tradable.
Did you just say including Eklund?
Yeah.
I can't even talk to you right now.
For the right price?
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in you, Aaron. Okay.
Okay.
He's like, okay, I accept this.
Fine.
See, I got big head mode. There you go.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was what Greer went into that meeting and said. Nobody is safe. Nobody's off the table.
Yeah.
Get it together.
Yeah. Yeah. So Peter St. John saying, he says, yikes. And I think that is yikes to the idea of trading Blackwood. And he says that, which I think is to the idea of keeping him as their number one netminder. Correct me if I'm wrong, Peter St. John. Mountain Goat, there's a big divide here, I think, in the chat. Mountain Goat saying, yes, they should trade him if they can get some first round picks. I don't know that we would get first round pick, Mountain Goat, but certainly if we got 2, they would pack his bag for him. So yeah, absolutely. And he's a great goaltender for us right now, but if you have the opportunity to really bring in some high level talent, I think you absolutely do that there. Sean Savage says, what are our other choices? We need someone to be a number one goalie. If we can get Blackwood there, great. So it sounds like he wants to build around him. Factual Toilet, phenomenal name, says to build around Mac. Looks like a stud behind abysmal defense that will improve, hopefully. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 100%. We've been talking about the defense not playing well and not looking good, not clearing the front of the net, not doing all the things that defensive defensemen should be doing. And the Sharks certainly don't have very many offensive defensemen. They just got Addison, but other than that, everybody else, is going to make their living in the NHL. Certainly trying to keep the puck out of the net more so than trying to get the puck into it. So, I think that they improved their defense around Mac, and he'll look even better. So, absolutely, I agree with you there. Noah Claxton says, yes, only if there's an offer that we can't refuse, like a first or a second. See, he's a little more realistic, I think, there. Only because we see that goaltenders are pretty replaceable in this league unless you get a franchise stud. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I think when you have a good team in front of a decent goaltender, it goes a longer way than having a trash team in front of a great goaltender. So I think we might be on the same wavelength there. So like I said, it's kind of Malachi Nunes here. It says keep Blackwood. So it's kind of split, Aaron. And my thoughts on this really are, I'm in the same boat as the majority of these people here. If you're able to get a first for Mackenzie Blackwood, again, we're approaching Thanksgiving, but there's all that time in between then and the trade deadline. If he's really standing on his head, keeping the Sharks a losing team but staying above 900, I think that says a whole heck of a lot about his ability as a goaltender. And certainly any other team that is looking for someone to either solidify the 1A, 1B situation, or to at least have somebody who is more than capable as a backup. Maybe their backup situation is just utter garbage. Then certainly this would be a great way to help solidify the tandem that they have. So I could definitely see another team wanting to give up a first. I mean, we've seen that happen with Barclay Goodrow, a fourth line guy on our team. He garnered a first round draft pick, and it's because Tampa knew, hey, we're going all the way this year. That first round draft pick is not going to be very early whatsoever. So we're okay essentially giving away a very early second round pick. So, I think another team in the same position would have no problem giving up their first to get a guy who can backstop them throughout the playoffs and do it at this level that he's doing on a very poor San Jose Sharks team. So, I'm very interested to see how this goes. I would love to keep him if he's going to continue to play this way for the next few years. And certainly if we can get our roster up to snuff to support him, we could be a very good team in the next few years. But, again, if something comes along that is just too good to pass up for a rebuilding team, I think you have to go for it. So, there you go. That's my thoughts on that. Thank you guys for contributing to that discussion. Do appreciate all the comments that we got in there. Malachi says, can Capo keep pace with Blackwood? Aaron, what do you think about Capo versus Blackwood? I don't think there's much of a comparison there. I don't think Capo is on the same level as Mackenzie is right now, at least. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. I was hopeful that he would kind of turn around and put things together this season. Not that I expected, Vezina winning winning goaltending from Cackle, but I wanted to see him be a little bit more confident, and I'm not seeing it really. I mean, he's been okay, but I think on a good team, he's a good backup. He's a good backup in case your number one goes down for a little while, but I don't think he can carry a team. And it's unfortunate. I mean, he's 1 year older than Blackwood too, so it's not like he's younger and up and coming and could take over. His contract is done after the season. Maybe a team will trade for him at the deadline as a backup. I could see a team maybe that has an injury or something to maybe their backup or something else. His contract's not terrible either, so it's doable. I mean, he's only making 2.35. Or I'm sorry, that's Blackwood. Capo is making 2.75. That's not that bad. So I think there's potential to get something back for him, but I don't see him being the answer either, and I don't see him being signed past this season with the Sharks. Blackwood, though, I could still see being extended. The way he's playing right now, and if he continues this the whole season, I think it's a steal for getting him at 2.3 and also only a 6th-round draft pick. But that's the way goaltending goes, man. You're hot 1 minute and you're not the next year, and you're done in this league. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and don't forget that that low cap hit certainly helps when you're trying to trade that player. Other teams are more easily able to fit him onto the roster, and sometimes the return gets a little bit better because of that. So we shall see. Noah Claxton had said Blackwood to Edmonton for a 2nd and a 3rd. I'm saying yes. Do you say yes to that now, or Aaron?
I don't know.
Blackwood for Draisaitl. Yeah, no.
If they give us a first, I would say I'd rather have 1 first than a 2nd and a 3rd.
I agree. Quality over quantity.
Malaki Nunes, do you regret trading Timo?
I'm sorry, Malachi?
Malachi?
I think is how it's pronounced.
Anyway, I was just looking this up. No, because the 1st-round draft pick that they used this last draft, they got Quentin Musty, and I think Quentin Musty's kind of a similar player. He's a bigger power forward kind of guy who will be up and coming. Again, another guy I'm very excited to come to the Sharks in the coming years. He needs some more time, but I think that would be maybe not quite a replacement of Timo Meier, but a guy who's going to be very exciting to watch play because both his skill and size and power, and the potential of having the New Jersey Devils 1st-round pick again this season. That 2nd-round pick could be turned into a 1st round. So I don't, because I feel like Timo would be wasted away on this team. He would be probably leading the team in scoring, kind of like he was. What was it last year? Beginning of last year, when he was actually doing pretty well finally. But I think he got the same message from Greer. Like you're playing yourself to a better team, so you better start playing well and put the team on your back, and that's what he did. So now he's in New Jersey and he's been benched a few times. So I don't regret it. I like Timo. It's not like I don't like him, but I don't like Timo on this current roster on this team. I think it's just a waste, and I'm glad they traded him. So hopefully all of them pan out. Zetterlund's been the leading scorer right now of the Sharks. That was another piece of that trade. And Zetterlund, I think I tweeted this out the other day. He's becoming my favorite Shark player right now. He is a hardworking guy, and his hard work is paying off. Did you see the small clip of when the Sharks played Pittsburgh, that 10-0 game, of Carlson chirping, Erik Karlsson chirping some of the Sharks players? One of them was
not
Zetterlund.
So much chirping, but he was talking to. Yes.
Yeah, one of them was Zetterlund. Did you hear what he said to him? It was in Swedish. He says, "I'm like, I leave and now you're the leading scorer." Like, how did that happen, or something like that? I don't know. It's pretty funny. The way he said it was funny. It wasn't mean. It wasn't mean spirited. It was just, ribbing, kind of joking around.
Yeah. Sturm hit him in the wall there, and as soon as he gets hit, he goes, "Nice hit, Sturmy." And he just keeps getting. It's I mean, the opposing teams are supposed to hate each other or whatever, but like a lot of these guys, they've played with each other before, be it on the same junior teams or NC2A or wherever they came from before they went to the NHL. Maybe they've done some stints together in other leagues or whatever it is. Certainly, some of them played all-star games together as well and gotten to know each other that way. A lot of these guys are just buddies on the rink and everything still. So to have him come back and playing against San Jose and to have those kind of little interactions on the ice is really cool to see. I'm glad they were able to capture some of that audio and see it pan out on the ice. It was just kind of a fun thing to see for Sharks fans there. So there you go. And yes, Malachi says you're right, Paul. That's how you say it, Malachi Nunez. You remind me of that Key and Peele sketch. D nice, Balake.
I've already been called AA Ron in the chat.
AA Ron.
My name will never be the same because of that sketch. Ever.
Ever. I have the shirt. It says you done messed up, AA Ron. I don't know if I've shown that to you or not, but I do have the shirt. So
I've seen the shirt, but not from you.
Dan Ruzanowski inducted in the Hockey Hall of Fame. This is awesome, man. This is well deserved. I'm kind of surprised because he's still active that they would do this, but okay, great.
He's been going since the beginning of the Sharks in 1981. He's been the only voice of the Sharks on the radio, minus the car accident that he got into when he was driving to the arena to do a game.
Yeah.
I believe that was in the mid 90s, maybe kind of earlier on in his career. But a lot of these guys are still like Jim Hewson, Bill Clement. I'm looking at the past winners. They're all still active. So
I think it was Squints from the Sandlot that said forever. He's been doing it since the beginning of the Sharks, man. Like, yeah, he absolutely well deserved. And this thing is called the Foster Hewitt Memorial Award, and it's again part of the 2023 Hall of Fame, Hockey Hall of Fame class. So there you go. That's him accepting that. I guess they had that hung up, and he was walking around trying to find where it was, and whoever he was with was showing it to him. And I think the thing that stood out to him was that they spelled his name correctly. He said that's always nice that they spelled it right. So
it's hard. It's a tough name to spell, right?
It's a tough name to spell, and I'll tell you this too, Aaron. Now we just made fun of your name a little bit, AA Ron, because that is the literal like phonetic spelling of your name. There's 2 A's, RON. If you go to Tech CU Arena and you take a look at the wall that has all the black plaques on it with people's names, the people who were original season ticket holders for that inaugural season, you will find one that says Fin Factor on it, and it says Paul, and it says Aaron, ARRON. They've not fixed it yet. I don't know. So for them to get Ruzanowski correct, but they can't get Ron is true story,
life, man.
I'm telling you, it's
up. Both my first and last names have been butchered.
Yeah, SCH.
Yeah, right? Everyone wants to put a C in my name, so it's ARON, ARRON, ARYN, ERIN. There you go.
Oh,
never the same.
You know what?
Never the same.
That's going to be a recurring thing on this show. I can tell you right now.
Oh my god!
Might have to
ever been the same.
May have to superimpose Super Bruiser and Jason's face on that one. Oh, that's phenomenal. Anyway, so yes, they spelled it correctly, and a big heartfelt congratulations to Dan Ruzanowski. One of the we had him on the show and a great interview. There is the picture that we were looking for.
Look at that
book at the time. I was promoting Movember at the time, clearly. So yeah, there's that big old caterpillar. My goodness.
I miss it.
Yes, that was a great. It was a fun show. We played a little game with him where he pronounced hockey names for us properly because we kept screwing them up, and it was a lot of fun. If you've not seen that episode, please feel free to jump back in time and rewatch that one. A very fun episode with Dan Ruzanowski.
Peter just asked, Randy has been with the Sharks since the beginning too, hasn't he? Randy helped bring the team to San Jose. He was one of the people that spearheaded the effort to get the NHL team here. But I think the first season, he wasn't the announcer. he might have done like a handful of games, but he wasn't the full-time announcer. I think he was part-time there trying out some other people. And I think maybe the first 2 seasons. So he didn't do as many as Dan. Dan has been the man since the beginning, since they started. Other than that accident again. But yeah, and highlighting this real quick, Noah Claxton, thank you guys for your persistence. It's easy for fans to get disinterested when a team goes through a rebuild, but I appreciate your dedication in creating this space for fellow passionate fans. Likewise, we are very happy to have all of you in part of our community, because I think we have a really good, pretty good community here that, we're all pretty cordial and in the same boat and trying to laugh at the misery of the Sharks season. So it's the only thing you could do this year is just laugh. It's just funny at this point. Like, how many other weird goals are we going to see scored against the Sharks? I didn't see slow ball coming from Rado Gudis the other night, so I didn't have that in my bingo card. So it'll be interesting to see what else happens this season. Still worth watching. I think it's still worth watching. It's still fun.
Nice. Grandad is just saying the A is silent. What A is silent? Then his name would just be Ron. Oh man, I'm not sure where you're going with that one, but okay, there you go. All right. So again, congratulations, Dan Rizanowski. And yes, absolutely. Echoing Aaron's sentiments. Thanks to you folks for being in the chat. We certainly love having you guys in here. It's a whole lot of fun. One other guy here inducted to the San Jose Sports Hall of Fame, Patrick Marleau. Now, Aaron, we've had Evgeny Nabokov. We had an interview with him. Well, I had an interview with him. You had something better to do at the time. But I was there with him, and it was for this same ceremony, inducting him into the San Jose Sports Hall of Fame. Obviously, now Patrick Marleau's turn. Now, they do have those kind of plaques where they have like a bronzed face of that person that was inducted into San Jose Sports Hall of Fame. And those are all around SAP Center. So if you get a chance to walk around, really pay attention before you go up or down to your section. And on the wall, they have these kind of bronzed faces of these folks. Now you'll be able to see Patrick Marleau's face somewhere in there as well. Aaron, was anything you wanted to say about this event?
Yeah, it's a cool event. They do it every year, and they add more busts, plaques onto the wall. I think it's in 208, 209 area on that side of the arena where they are, I think, if I remember correctly. But another person that went in alongside Patrick Marleau's event was Chris Wondolowski of the San Jose Earthquakes, for any of you Sharks or Earthquakes fans. And he's a guy that I always follow because I actually played against him in college. I went to Sonoma State and he went to Chico State. And it's just so cool to see that a guy from Division II soccer, not even Division I, made it as far as he did. And not just make it to the MLS, but the all-time leading goal scorer of MLS. So the GOAT, if you will, definitely the GOAT of the Earthquakes. One of the few GOATs of MLS. And he was the guy, I don't think you remember this because you didn't really watch the World Cup, but when the USA played against Belgium in the World Cup in 2016, Wondolowski comes in as a sub. There's 10 minutes left in the game, roughly. They're tied, and corner kick comes in, and he is wide open, jumps in the air. You see him put these goals away year after year for the Earthquakes, and he sails it over the crossbar. And I always said, had he scored that goal and Team USA beats Belgium and moves on to the quarterfinals, everyone would know how to spell Wondolowski, because that is a mouthful of a name.
But not Rizanowski.
Right, not Rizanowski. But it's it's such a mouthful that I think even on his first jersey that he wore, they misspelled his name. They gave him an extra letter or something. And so the next time when they fixed it, he added on the inside of his jersey the extra letters, good luck, because he, superstition and all that stuff.
Sure.
But anyway, it's cool to see all of them go in. Oh, it's 2014 Brazil. Thank you. Not 2016. I'm off. It's a long night, and we're talking hockey, not World Cup. But thank you, Brash John. And Brash John, also, I saw your comment earlier, much earlier, that you finally made it back to live. Been catching you guys on the rewatch, so appreciate you being here on the live. And also, you asked, can we make Fin Factor bingo cards?
Yeah, probably for like the Luke Cunnin thing.
Oh, I get it.
For the,
I get it. I get it. I know what he's saying. I'll look into that. Maybe we'll have a bingo card by next week that everyone can print out if they'd like to follow along for. Now every time Rince pronounces the name, we need A on slide. Lindblom. Yeah, I always say Lindblom. It's Lindblom. Yeah. My bad.
That's why I have a big head.
I am no Dan Ruzanowski. I am not a. I nail the Russian names. Everyone else is kind of harder.
It's the Great Eight. Alex
Ovechkin.
Nope.
Oh, Ovechkin.
Ovechkin.
Yeah.
If you're Dan Ruzanowski, it's Ovechkin.
That's the actual pronunciation in Russian.
Absolutely.
It's like saying, is it San Jose or San Jose?
A lot of people call him oven chicken, so let's not get too upset about it. Upcoming games, we got 2. Tuesday against the Florida Panthers. Both of these are going to be at home. And then Thursday, St. Louis Blues, which happens to be Hockey Fights Cancer Night. And there's a little banner giveaway there. I don't know if we have an image or anything like that for that. But those are the 2 games that are for this week. Kind of strange to go 2 games and then 4 games in the week and then back to 2 games again. Yeah, it's like big, small, big, small, big, small. Anyway, so if you can give us your rundown here, Florida Panthers to Chuck. What do you think?
What do I think of that game? Like, what's going to happen?
What do you think of that game? And what do you think of I mean, he's such a skillful pass. He reminds me of Brad Marchand with less licking.
Who is that?
To Chuck.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Calgary hasn't been the same since that trade, since he left. So I think Florida's a good team, but I don't think I guess they are doing pretty well in the standings. I take it back. Bobrovsky's been playing a lot, and I know because he's on my fantasy team. I think that's going to be a tough one. I mean, Florida's pretty good, and they don't even have all their best players back. Ekblad's still, their number 1 defenseman is still in the IR. He's coming off soon, I think next week or the week after next. I think it's after Thanksgiving. So thankfully, he will not be in the lineup against the Sharks. But it would be a great time for him to come back to ease into a game.
I was gonna say, yeah. Even if he's 90%, 80%, play him.
Oh, I hate to say it, but it's so true. Yeah, but true.
He needs a rec league game for his Thursday night game or whatever it's going to be for them. He'll let him play the Sharks. He'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, brutal. Like sad.
And then the St. Louis Blues. Honestly, I'm not sure where the St. Louis Blues are in the standings. How have they fared lately?
They've been okay. They've been getting better. They're kind of a team that has the talent and can't really put it together. I think they missed playoffs last season, if I remember correctly. Bennington, remember Bennington?
Oh yeah.
He's the St. Louis Blues was when they won 5 years ago, 6 years ago. It's been a while. They fired their coach at Christmas or roughly Christmas time. Pulled up Bennington, who was at the time 22, 23 from I don't even think he was at the AHL level. I think he was at the ECHL level or something. And they go on this hot run, make the playoffs, and they end up winning a cup. It's been a long road since then for St. Louis. They haven't been able to get back into that groove, but still a very dangerous team. They're starting to put it together now. I mean, against the Sharks are the slump buster. So I think there's a chance that the Sharks are going to go 0-2 in this week.
Grandizer is asking if we have a picture of when we went to the Sharks inaugural, a Sharks game in the inaugural year. I would have been like 11.
No, we were younger than that, 91.
10 or 11 years old. I was born in 81.
God, you're old.
So 92
now. I'll have to go back. I'll go back to my parents' house and go through their photo album. I mean, it's not like today where you had your phone, you could take a picture whenever you want.
Exactly. That's just it.
I don't know.
I'll have to dig through the old Polaroid stack.
Yeah. I went with. Did you go to the Cow House?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to one game with my dad. It might have even been the second season. It might not have been the first. And we talked about this a long time ago on our show, but the only thing I remember about that place was it smelled like cows. It smelled awful. We were in the cheap seats and it was very rowdy. everyone around us was they had emptied out a milk carton, a gallon milk carton, and filled it with beer and brought it in themselves. And so they're passing around this milk carton amongst themselves, just chugging this beer. They kept, what I didn't understand because I was 10 is they were razzing the Sharks players. They were just chirping the Sharks players the entire game. And they were wearing Sharks gear. It wasn't like they were the other team. They were just, the Sharks were so bad. And these guys are probably Canadian. They're probably like in town Canadian, like not really Sharks fans. And I don't know, you know what I mean? Like they're just like real hockey players who are watching awful hockey in the NHL. And that's all you do is you just chirp them and stuff. And I remember at that time, Kelly Kissio was like the main guy that was their main scorer, kind of.
Yeah.
This was before even Urbe played. He wasn't even, I don't know if he was on the roster yet, but
was it Haywood, Brian Haywood?
Haywood and oh man, it's going way back in the time machine.
Get on with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you remember?
In case Sharks have certainly gotten better since then, except for this year. So we're on an epic tear right now. We'll see how much history we make as the season goes on. And of course, we'll be right here for you guys to go ahead and either complain or have a good chuckle. So
we just stunk.
so Jeff Hackett, is that the guy? Is it
Hackett?
Jeff Hackett was the first
Yes.
one? Yes.
Who actually went on to play really well for Chicago after that.
Yeah, and his son actually played a few games in the show too, if I recall.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. In any case, once again, guys, I have to say thank you so much. I do appreciate everybody in the comments. It's been a fun night. I know the Sharks are horrible, but it's great when we can just kind of get everybody that's kind of the regulars and get them in here and we're just chatting it up. It's a lot of fun with you guys. Certainly keeps us going. And we do appreciate all the comments there. So I'll do my normal spiel here. If you guys would like to support the show, you can do that a number of ways. You can use the super chat function. You can also use Venmo at the Fin Factory. Either way, if you get a comment in there, we can go ahead and read it out during the show. If you do it after the fact, we can do it in the subsequent show. That's fine too. We will address that question and answer it for you. You can also go to thefinfactor.com if you'd like to get something back for your support. You can purchase hats, shirts, water bottles, hoodies, stickers, all kinds of stuff that we have available on our merch store there. And does obviously help support the show, but then you get to wear our swag and kind of promote us as well, which is awesome. Thank you for that. Also, you can hit the like button if you have enjoyed the video. It helps other people see that. If you are not subscribed, I don't know why. We only do this once a week, so we're not going to fill up your inbox with meaningless junk. Hit that notification bell right where Aaron's pointing, because I'm on the wrong side of the screen apparently, and you will know when we go live, so you can be a part of this as well. And of course, as always, if you can, please, we'd appreciate more than anything else if you could repost, reshare, share us out to your Sharks friends and family. If you're enjoying it, again, we think that they might enjoy it just as much. So there you go. Aaron, any other last second things you want to pull out of the comment section?
I'm done. I'm
No,
done. The last thing I was say is about the new set. We kind of talked about it, I guess, earlier, but the new set is coming along very nicely, and we are just about done with the background part. Tomorrow, I think it'll be finished up, and then working on the desk next. So we will have a desk in front of us the first time. And
I am genuinely excited for this. I know it's been a long time coming. We've talked about it a lot, and it's almost like a joke in the chat section here. But it actually is coming along really fast. It looks so good in concept and everything, and the build that they've put together. It looks really good as well, and I'm just super stoked for us to be able to put something together that's better than the talking heads on the glorified Zoom call. So if that comes sooner than later, certainly be very happy to share that with you guys. And of course, your support has helped make that possible. So again, thank you guys for that. And there's a couple comments here. Do you want to read any of these out, or are we?
Yeah, Ryan Sontag. Any chance you guys would ever sell Fin Factor embroidered patches? Maybe. I mean, how about you guys tell us in the comments below what you'd want to see for swag, and we can see what we can do and make some happen or not. We'll see.
See, Noah Claxton. See, you're pushing my buttons, Noah. A new set coming soon, 2028. No, a new set's coming soon before the end of this season. I want to say that's a promise, but I don't know.
Next one's even worse. Will
What's
we
that?
get a new studio or before or after the Sharks lift the cup over X years?
Hey, Super Producer Jason threw it in the chat, says this month. And you know what? We're going to end on this. LM says legends. I'm feeling it, buddy. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. Another great show. Thank you for being a part of it. For Super Producer Jason, I'm Paul.
And I'm Aaron.
And we will see you guys
Next week.
Bye-bye.
We just stunk.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, check out our other content, especially interviews. You can interact with us directly through social media at The Fin Factor and on Instagram at Fin Factor. And don't forget to join our live streams on YouTube.
Visit our website at thefinfactor.com, where you'll find all of our episodes as videos or podcasts. You'll also find our exclusive merchandise to help support